Cultivation Online. Let's begin. Chapter 1936 Seventh Heavens Dragon Spiral Mountain. When are you going to visit the Demon Sealing Grotto? I would love to go with you, but my position within the Demon Sealing clan would only make things more difficult for you, Yanhara said. I have some business at the Dragon Spiral Mountain, so I will be going there first. After that, I want to check up on my friends, but that won't take long. If nothing else comes up, I'll visit the Demon Sealing Grotto. Yanhara raised her eyebrows in a puzzled manner and inquired, the Dragon Spiral Mountain. What business do you have with the Holy Dragon clan? I thought they didn't accept visitors. You're aware that my current body is only an avatar of my soul, right? Yes, I am aware. The Celestial Emperor told us about you guys, but so far, you're the only person I've met who's from that world. Well, I intend on coming to the Nine Heavens with my real body, and the Dragon Spiral Mountain is the key to making that a reality. Coming here with your real body. Such a thing is possible. Yanhara exclaimed in shock. The Dragon Spiral Mountain is actually a massive teleportation device that connects with the other Dragon Spiral Mountains, and one of those mountains is in my world. I'm not sure how it works, but I'll figure it out once I get there. That's only if the Holy Dragon clan even allows you in trance, said Yanhara. Yuan pondered for a moment before asking, at what level is the strongest individual there? If you're thinking about forcing your way inside, forget about it. They have several God Ascension Realm powerhouses there, Sun Ling Kai said, shaking her head. Do you think I am a brute or something? Yuan chuckled. I just wanted to know their prowess. Yanhara then spoke, if you're asking about their prowess, the Holy Dragon clan is within the top 20 most powerful backgrounds in the Nine Heavens, and in terms of dragon clans, they're top 3. Top 20 in the entire Nine Heavens. That's quite impressive. If you need help, I can ask around, Sun Ling Kai said. No, it's fine. I have several plans in mind already. If you say so, but if you ever need my help, just ask. Here is my communication jade slip for contacting me. Sun Ling Kai placed her jade slip on the table before Yuan. Thanks. Yuan accepted the jade slip. Sometime later, after Yuan finished drinking all of the tea and they finished their conversation, Yanhara spoke, as much as I would like to travel with you, I don't want to bring unnecessary attention your way, especially from Qian Chu and his followers. Yuan nodded. I understand. Sun Ling Kai then spoke, well, good luck with the Holy Dragon clan. They're renowned for their stubbornness. Sun Ling Kai and Yanhara left first after paying for the tea. Let's head to the Dragon Spiral Mountain now, shall we? Yuan said to Shi Meili, who eagerly nodded. After leaving the tea house, they made their way to the nearest teleportation device. Many teleports later, they arrived at Silverfoam Harbor, a bustling city located near the Sea of Dragons. The Sea of Dragons was a vast, unique ocean in the seventh heaven, renowned for its abundance of sea beasts that bore the appearance of dragons. However, despite their fearsome looks, most of these beasts were not true dragons, and only a rare few possessed actual dragon blood in their veins. No one truly knew why the sea beasts resembled dragons, but legend had it that a mighty ancient dragon once perished within those waters. Its blood seeped into the sea, tainting the depths and altering the creatures that dwelled within, giving rise to the dragon-like beasts that now roam the Sea of Dragons. As for the Dragon Spiral Mountain, it was located on a secluded island somewhere in the middle of the Sea of Dragons. Its remote and treacherous location was a natural deterrent to visitors, especially with powerful immortal-level sea beasts prowling the surrounding waters. While Yuan didn't fear the sea beasts, Shi Meili was a different story. Maybe I should stay in this place while you head to the Dragon Spiral Mountain. I don't want to be a burden, said Shi Meili as they stood before the Sea of Dragons. Yuan shook his head. Don't say that. Also, your presence might help me convince the Holy Dragon clan to assist us, so I cannot leave you behind. Just stay close to me. I'll protect you. Young master, you're not alone. Feng Yushang suddenly appeared before them. I'll also help out. Thank you, Shi Meili nodded. We also have Yingzi, who is as powerful as a golden immortal, Yuan added. Feng Yushang then spoke, instead of flying around like we usually do, it's about time we start making use of flying treasures. With that, she retrieved a small crimson ship from her storage and tossed it into the air. The ship began expanding midair until it was large enough to accommodate 1,000 people with ease. The sudden appearance of such a massive flying treasure left everyone at the harbor utterly dumbfounded. "This is the soaring phoenix," Feng Yuxiang introduced the flying treasure to them as she jumped on it. "Although it's not the fastest flying treasure out there, it has what many ordinary flying treasures lack: defensive formations that will keep its riders safe. As long as we don't encounter any immortal level threat, we'll be safe while riding it." Yuan and Shi Meili entered the ship a moment later. "This is quite something. Why didn't you bring this out before? We could have used something like this during some of our long travels." Feng Yuxiang then said, "Because it doesn't operate with just spiritual energy. It also requires immortal qi, which can only be found in the seventh heaven and above." Moments later, the soaring phoenix stirred to life, and in the blink of an eye, it shot into the distance, vanishing from the harbor's view, leaving only ripples in its wake and stunned silence behind. Chapter 1937 Sea of Dragons. After entering the Sea of Dragons, it didn't take long for the sea beasts to launch their assault on the soaring phoenix. Even though the flying treasure flew high above the waves, the creatures below unleashed powerful long-range attacks. Some even went as far as jumping out of the water to strike them using their entire body. The sea beasts of the Sea of Dragons were notoriously aggressive, attacking anything that moved without hesitation. This was one of many reasons why few dared to traverse its waters. Navigating the sea required not only specialized equipment but also a vast amount of resources to defend against the relentless onslaught of these powerful creatures. Why are the sea creatures here so aggressive? It wasn't nowhere this bad at the Purple Sea, Shi Meili wondered out loud as she watched them bounce off an invisible barrier that protected the flying treasure. "Well, dragons are aggressive creatures by nature," Feng Yuxiang said with a casual shrug. "That's not true. At least not for the dragons in the ancient dragon city," Shi Meili responded, a hint of defensiveness in her tone. "I'm not saying all dragons are violent," Feng Yuxiang replied calmly. "But many are. It's in their blood, just like how phoenixes are naturally prideful creatures. It's part of who we are." Shi Meili fell silent, unable to refute Feng Yuxiang's words, especially with the evidence right before her eyes. The sea beasts, dragon-like in form and ferocity, were living proof of the aggression woven into their bloodline. All she could do was watch in quiet contemplation. "So, how do you plan on approaching the Holy Dragon Clan, young master?" "I can't say I've dealt with them before, but I've heard many stories about them." Feng Yuxiang asked Yuan, "Are you going to disguise yourself as a dragon emperor like you usually do?" Yuan pondered for a moment before responding, "No, that trick probably won't work with them, especially if they're one of the top dragon clans in the 9 heavens. Moreover, their god ascension experts will most likely see through my disguise. Then how are you going to trick them? I doubt they'd pay attention to a human." Feng Yuxiang said, "Since there's a good chance they have a connection with dragon goddess Yiyu, I can use that to my advantage. After all, I have dragon goddess Yiyu's soul with me." "I see, so you're going to use dragon goddess Yiyu's identity. If that doesn't work, I'll think of something else." The Sea of Dragons was so vast that even with a high-speed flying treasure, crossing from one end to the other would take years. The Dragon Spiral Mountain was located at the very heart of the Sea of Dragons, and Yuan estimated that their journey would take several months at the very least. With an abundance of time, the group dedicated themselves to cultivation. Thanks to the rich spiritual energy of the seventh heaven, Shi Meili's cultivation advanced at an astonishing pace. Lan Yingying and Yingzi appeared to cultivate. While Lan Yingying focused on stabilizing her cultivation, Yingzi's cultivation soared at an unimaginable speed. After a few weeks at sea, Feng Yuxiang returned to Yuan's Dantian and entered slumber. Fortunately, the soaring phoenix required no active supervision to operate. With a destination already set and absorbing the natural spiritual energy and immortal qi around it, the ship continued sailing steadily toward Dragon Spiral Mountain. Meanwhile, Yuan continued to absorb the spiritual energy within the demon-devouring sword. It didn't take long for his Divine King cultivation to enter the Divine Emperor realm. However, after reaching the peak of Divine Emperor, Yuan encountered his bottleneck. Less than an unknown force prevents your cultivation from advancing further greater than. Less than any additional qi you consume will be used to strengthen your body instead greater than. After reaching his bottleneck, Yuan focused on improving his soul strength. Unlike spiritual energy, which could only be enhanced by absorbing more of it, immortal chi functioned differently. While it could be strengthened through conventional cultivation, it also grew stronger through one's soul strength, hence why immortals spend more time cultivating their soul cultivation technique than their spiritual cultivation technique. Of course, due to the rarity of soul cultivation techniques, not all immortals had the luxury of strengthening their soul strength. This was where factions became crucial. Beyond offering protection and resources, many powerful factions possessed soul cultivation techniques, making them invaluable to those seeking to advance further. Heaven's indomitable soul, truly an unfathomable technique. I wonder how it's related to my past lives, Yuan thought to himself as his soul strength strengthened with every passing second. As the soaring phoenix drew closer to Dragon Spiral Mountain, the sea beasts grew noticeably more aggressive and far more powerful. Their appearances also resembled dragons more and more. At first, the soaring phoenix effortlessly absorbed all incoming attacks, its defenses unfazed by the sea beast's aggression. But now, the sea beasts were powerful enough to shake the flying treasure with their attacks. The barrier looks like it's struggling. It's not going to break, is it? She merely asked, a worried look on her face as the ship shuddered again. Feng Feng said the flying treasure can withstand attacks up to the silver immortal level, Yuan replied calmly. The sea beasts are still only in the immortal ascension realm, so we're fine, for now. Is that so? Feeling relieved, she merely returned to her cultivation. In just 8 months, she merely increased her cultivation to the 8th level of Divine Master from Divine Warrior. Lan Yingying had stabilized her cultivation at the first level of the Divine Lord level and had begun cultivating toward the next level by herself. As for Yingzi, her cultivation saw the most significant improvements, reaching the 3rd level of Divine Grand Master. As their journey entered its 9th month, the soaring phoenix came to a sudden halt for the first time since they had set sail. Sensing the shift, Yuan and the others paused their cultivation to investigate, expecting to see their destination. But to their confusion, the Dragon Spiral Mountain was nowhere in sight. Young Master, several powerful presences are blocking our path, Feng Yushang reported calmly. But it doesn't seem like they've noticed us. In fact, it looks like they're currently fighting among themselves. 1938 Ancient Monolith. After hearing Feng Yushang's words, Yuan expanded the range of his divine sense. Although he kept it active at all times, he usually limited its scope to avoid distracting others, or worse, being mistaken for spying, a common source of conflict among cultivators. Several hundred miles away, Yuan's divine sense locked onto a large gathering of individuals. They were unmistakably dragons, humanoid in form but marked by prominent horns and swaying dragon tails. There were around 20 of them, split into 2 distinct factions. One group was dressed in elegant white and gold robes, radiating a noble aura. The other wore black and light blue garments, their presence colder and more ominous. The Holy Dragon clan has monopolized the Dragon Spiral Mountain for far too long. One of the black and blue clothed individuals shouted angrily. Shut up. We've been protecting the Dragon Spiral Mountain since the primordial era. What right do you have to tell us to leave? That's right, you greedy bastards. Your intentions for wanting the Dragon Spiral Mountain aren't good, either. We'll never hand it over to you. The gold-robed individuals responded. Young Master, should we intervene? Feng Yushang asked Yuan. Not yet. If we intervene now, we might offend both sides. Let's wait a little longer, he calmly responded. Soon, the Holy Dragon clan and the opposing faction resumed their battle. The combatants were all powerful, most being at the Immortal Ascension realm, with each side led by a single bronze immortal. At first, the two forces seemed evenly matched, their attacks shaking the very air with dragon techniques. But as the battle dragged on, it became clear that the dragons in black and blue robes were gaining the upper hand, steadily pushing back the Holy Dragon clan. I'm going to intervene now. Yuan suddenly left the soaring phoenix and flew toward the battle. Sometime later, once Yuan arrived at the scene, he cleared his throat loudly and spoke, Excuse me, can I have a moment of your attention? Huh, who the hell is that? Both sides abruptly halted their battle and turned their attention to Yuan. At first, they tensed with suspicion, assuming he was a reinforcement from the opposing side. But as they caught his scent and realized he was human, their expressions shifted from wariness to confusion. I'm trying to find the dragon spiral mountain, but I'm lost, Yuan continued speaking in a calm and clear despite the tension in the air. This crazy human bastard actually interrupted us over some bullshit like that. You'll pay for your sin with death. One of the black-robed dragons suddenly flew at Yuan with clear killing intent radiating from his aura. What's with the hostility? I'm just trying to ask for directions. Yuan sighed as he retrieved Dragon God's vengeance. Quote question mark exclamation mark question mark exclamation mark question mark exclamation mark quote. The instant the Dragon God's vengeance appeared, the black-robed dragon charging toward Yuan came to an abrupt halt, his instincts screaming at him to stop. Gasps rippled through the others, their faces etched with instinctive terror. A primal fear gripped them, one they couldn't suppress, as the weapon exuded a deadly pressure that made their very blood run cold. From the Dragon God's vengeance, they felt an overwhelming aura of destruction, one that threatened their lives just by existing. What's wrong? Weren't you about to punish me for my sins? Yuan asked calmly, his gaze fixed on the dragon who had just charged at him. That's, the dragon stammered, his voice trembling. He hesitated to speak further, terrified that a single wrong word might provoke the figure before him and cost him his life. Instead, a voice from the Holy Dragon clan spoke a moment later. What business do you have at Dragon Spiral Mountain? The speaker was their bronze immortal, a woman whose tone carried both authority and unease. Though Yuan's cultivation appeared negligible at first glance, her eyes were fixed on the ominous weapon in his grasp. Something about it unsettled her deeply. It radiated a presence that felt inherently hostile to dragons, perhaps even a bane to their kind. The others from the Holy Dragon clan quickly grasped the intent behind their bronze immortal's question. Their expressions sharpened, and subtle shifts in their stances revealed their readiness. If Yuan's next words hinted at any ill intent toward Dragon Spiral Mountain, they were prepared to act, no matter how ominous the weapon in his hand appeared. It's complicated. I don't care how complicated it is. Explain. Yuan's gaze sharpened, a chill threading through his voice as he addressed the bronze immortal. I don't like your tone. Sensing the undercurrent of danger, the bronze immortal instinctively shifted into a defensive stance. The others reacted similarly and prepared to face Yuan. Seeing this, Yuan stowed away the Dragon God's vengeance and said calmly, my business with Dragon Spiral Mountain concerns Dragon Goddess Yiyu. That's all I'll say. Dragon Goddess Yiyu. 2154. Gasps rippled through the crowd, shock evident on every face. The mere mention of her name from a human's lips left them stunned. Dragon Goddess Yiyu. Gasps rippled through the crowd, shock evident on every face. The mere mention of her name from a human's lips left them stunned. Even among the dragon clans, Dragon Goddess Yiyu was a name spoken rarely, known only to a few. That a human would mention her made the moment all the more startling. Meanwhile, deep within the Dragon Spiral Mountain, a towering monolith of unknown origin stood in silent majesty. Moments after Yuan took out the Dragon God's vengeance, the monolith stirred, releasing a profound aura that swept across the mountain like a silent storm. The sudden pulse of unfathomable power startled every being in its reach, even those at the God Ascension realm. Within moments, many powerful figures appeared before the monolith. What is going on with the ancient monolith? It hasn't reacted like this since Dragon Goddess Yiyu's disappearance. Is it sensing Dragon Goddess Yiyu's presence? Has she finally returned to us? Dragon Goddess Yiyu has returned. Quickly, notify the Holy Dragon Emperor and the rest of the clan. Unbeknownst to Yuan, he'd accidentally stirred up a storm within the Dragon Spiral Mountain, sending the Holy Dragon clan into a frenzy. 1939 Holy Dragon Clan. Well, if you're not going to tell me where to find the Dragon Spiral Mountain, I'll take my leave now. Yuan said shortly after putting away the Dragon God's vengeance. Without giving the Holy Dragon clan an opportunity to speak, Yuan turned around and flew away. Wait a second. The bronze immortal from the Holy Dragon clan tried to chase after Yuan but was blocked by the black-robed dragons. Where do you think you're going? We're not finished here yet. Get lost. Their battle continued, but in a sudden shift, the tides turned. The Holy Dragon clan, who had been on the brink of defeat just moments earlier, now surged with newfound strength, quickly overpowering the black-robed dragons. Realizing they could no longer stand against the Holy Dragon clan, the black-robed dragons retreated. But instead of taking to the skies, they plunged into the sea below, vanishing beneath the waves. We need to return to the Dragon Spiral Mountain and report what happened here to the others, said the Bronze Immortal. Meanwhile, Yuan returned to the Soaring Phoenix and continued to watch them fight from a safe distance. Are you sure you should have just left them like that? Feng Yushang asked. She thought he was going to save the Holy Dragon clan. It's fine. I doubt they'd believe anything I say. My purpose was just to reveal my presence to them and make them question my identity, so when I show up at the Dragon Spiral Mountain later, they won't immediately turn me away. I see, but what if they perish at the hands of those black-robed dragons? Yuan then responded in confidence. Although they are fighting with each other, none of them are showing real killing intent, so it is unlikely they are going to kill each other. If things get real dangerous, I'll intervene again. In the end, events unfolded just as Yuan had predicted. The clash between the Holy Dragon clan and the black-robed dragons concluded without any true casualties. Shortly after the Holy Dragon clan left, the Soaring Phoenix began moving again, slowly following behind them. At the same time, the rest of the Holy Dragon clan was in an uproar due to the ancient monolith's sudden activity. Shortly after the ancient monolith sensed the dragon god's vengeance, nearly every single bigshot and important figure within the Holy Dragon clan appeared at the monolith to witness the phenomenon for themselves. It's true. The ancient monolith has awakened. Does this mean that Dragon Goddess Yiyu is really back? What should we do now? The Holy Dragon Emperor then spoke. We must prepare for Dragon Goddess Yiyu's return. Though it remained uncertain whether Dragon Goddess Yiyu had truly returned, or when she might appear, the Holy Dragon clan dared not take any chances. They began preparing in earnest for her grand return. It stopped. Moments later, the ancient monolith fell silent once more, its presence returning to stillness. However, that did not change their plans, and the Holy Dragon clan went on to prepare for Dragon Goddess Yiyu's return regardless. Shortly after, the Holy Dragon clan received news from the group that Yuan had encountered in the Sea of Dragons. What? A human who knows about Dragon Goddess Yiyu was looking for the directions to our Dragon Spiral Mountain. The Holy Dragon Emperor almost couldn't believe his ears. Besides those living in the Dragon Spiral Mountain and those who lived near it, knowledge of Dragon Goddess Yiyu was almost non-existent. Does this human have something to do with the ancient monolith's activation? He wondered inwardly as he received this news. Where is this human now? He asked the messenger. According to the scouts, he left before they could stop him. What? How could a mere human escape from their grasp? Holy Dragon Emperor questioned out loud with raised eyebrows. They were stopped by those sea bastards, whom they encountered and was fighting before meeting the human. Seriously. The Holy Dragon Emperor rubbed his eyes and continued, how long before they return? They should return in 45 days. As you wish, Your Majesty. Once the messenger left, the Holy Dragon Emperor lifted his head to look at the tall ceiling and mumbled, Are you truly back, Dragon Goddess? 43 days later, the dragons who had encountered Yuan finally returned to the Dragon Spiral Mountain. They were summoned without delay by the Holy Dragon Emperor, who demanded they recount every detail of their encounter. Their encounter with that human coincides almost perfectly with the activation of the ancient monolith, and a spear of such unfathomable power, is it? The Holy Dragon Emperor mused silently, his thoughts deep and unreadable. Your Majesty, what should we do about them? They're becoming more brazen by the day, asked the Bronze Immortal, who was still unaware of the ancient monolith's activation. The Azure Dragon clan, stubborn as ever, they won't rest until the Dragon Spiral Mountain is theirs, the Holy Dragon Emperor muttered, his gaze distant. I have no desire for war, but neither can we surrender the mountain. He let out a weary sigh. So war is unavoidable, The Bronze Immortal shook her head. Unfortunately. Anyway, you are dismissed. Thank you for the report. I do not deserve your recognition, Your Majesty. Time passed swiftly, and within a week, the Soaring Phoenix had brought Yuan close enough to see the Dragon Spiral Mountain rising on the horizon. Unlike its counterpart on Earth, the Dragon Spiral Mountain in the seventh heaven was vastly more expansive, so immense that the one on Earth would amount to barely 10% of its size. After another day of travel, the Soaring Phoenix finally reached the Dragon Spiral Mountain. However, before they could get close to the land, several figures emerged from the skies, surrounding their flying treasure and blocking any further approach. 1940 A real Dragon Emperor. Identify yourselves. A group of golden-robed dragons surrounded the Soaring Phoenix. My name is Xiao Yang, and this is my traveling companion, Shimei. What purpose do you have at our Dragon Spiral Mountain? That doesn't concern you, Yuan calmly said. Doesn't concern us. We, the Holy Dragon Clan, are the rightful owners of the Dragon Spiral Mountain. Everything related to the mountain is of our concern. If you're looking to cause trouble here, get lost before we forcefully remove you. Hearing their threats, Yuan laughed out loud. I heard the Holy Dragon Clan are Dragon Goddess Yiyu's loyal followers. What if I told you that I am Dragon Goddess Yiyu's envoy? Will you still tell me to leave then? What? Dragon Goddess Yiyu's envoy? A wave of shock swept through the crowd, but it quickly faded, replaced by rising anger, as though Yuan's words had been a deliberate insult to them. One of them sneered, I was wondering what sort of excuse you'll give, but Dragon Goddess Yiyu's envoy. What absolute rubbish. Another spoke with contempt in his voice, who do you think you're trying to fool? Why would Dragon Goddess Yiyu choose a lowly human as her envoy? Yuan turned to look at the one who had just questioned him and responded with narrowed eyes. That's a funny thing to say, considering that Dragon Goddess Yiyu was once a loyal servant to a lowly human. Yuan's words instantly shifted the atmosphere, drawing frowns from the surrounding dragons, yet not one of them could offer a rebuttal. If you claim to be Dragon Goddess Yiyu's envoy, you must have proof. Let us see it. Yuan fell silent, mostly because he didn't have anything that could be used as evidence. What? You don't have anything to prove your identity? Why am I not surprised? How dare you try to take advantage of us using Dragon Goddess Yiyu's name? You'll pay for your crimes with death. Kill them. The next moment, all of the dragons lunged at the soaring phoenix. Seeing this, Yuan activated his dragon transformation and retrieved Dragon God's vengeance. However, he only intended to scare them, so he didn't attack them. Of course, the dragons were all frozen from fear the moment they sensed the Dragon God's vengeance. Yuan then spoke, it's not that I don't want to show you proof. Information about Dragon Goddess Yiyu is highly sensitive, and you're simply not qualified to hear it. Take me to your leader, the head of the Holy Dragon Clan. The dragons exchanged uncertain glances, but before any could speak, a powerful presence descended upon them. A figure emerged, radiating a domineering aura that commanded instant reverence. He, too, was a dragon, clad in a resplendent golden robe nearly identical to the golden dragon robe in Yuan's possession. Yuan couldn't discern the depth of his cultivation, but instinct told him this was a being who had stepped into the God Ascension realm. At the sight of him, the surrounding dragons immediately bowed in unison. We greet His Majesty, the Holy Dragon Emperor. In the next instant, several more dragons appeared, each radiating a profound and majestic presence, just a shade beneath that of the Holy Dragon Emperor himself. Seeing this, the dragons hastily greeted them. We greet the Holy Dragon Ancestor, Supreme Elder, Holy Princess, Holy Prince, Holy. Enough. The Dragon Emperor suddenly interrupted. If he'd allowed them to continue the greetings, they'd be there all day. He then turned to face Yuan with slightly narrowed eyes. He's clearly human, yet he possesses the ability to transform into a dragon. Only those with a pure and high-quality dragon bloodline can achieve such a feat. And yet, such individuals usually carry a strong dragon scent, but from him, I sense nothing of that sort. The Holy Dragon Emperor mused inwardly, his gaze sharp as he studied Yuan's dragon transformation. When he attempted to probe deeper into Yuan's body, a sudden chill crept down his spine. He couldn't quite identify it, but within Yuan's very bones, he sensed the presence of something ancient, something unfathomably profound, lying dormant yet quietly watching. Among the scarce fragments of knowledge surrounding Dragon Goddess Yiyu, there was one rumor that stood out. It was said she possessed the power to bestow her talents upon any being, dragon or not. With her blessing, even the weakest of creatures, an ant, could wield the might of dragons, he recalled, the memory surfacing like a forgotten echo from a bygone era. Human, I heard your earlier words, the Dragon Emperor said, his tone calm yet laced with innate pride. I may not be the leader of the Holy Dragon Clan, but my status within it is no less significant. Tell me, am I, the Dragon Emperor, worthy to see your so-called proof? This was Yuan's first encounter with a real Dragon Emperor. However, after encountering many ancient dragons within the primal expanse, the Dragon Emperor before him did not feel anything special. I don't mind showing you. Holy Dragon Emperor nodded and spoke, we can continue our conversation somewhere more private. Follow me. He turned around and flew inside the dragon spiral mountain. Seeing this, Feng Yusheng, who was still inside Yuan's dantian, continued the soaring phoenix to follow the holy dragon emperor. Soon, they entered the dragon spiral mountain. Although the other dragons didn't like the idea of letting someone as suspicious as Yuan enter their sacred territory, none of them could defy the dragon emperor's decision. Once the soaring phoenix entered the dragon spiral mountain, the other powerhouses followed behind to ensure Yuan wouldn't try anything funny. Though their cultivations far surpassed Yuan's and they could probably kill him with a sneeze, an unshakable unease settled over them in the presence of the dragon god's vengeance. Meanwhile, the moment Yuan entered the dragon spiral mountain, he could feel something stirring within him. This feeling, the 9 dragon symbols. Is it reacting to something within the dragon spiral mountain? He wondered inwardly. The end. Your feedback is appreciated.